Well, hello there, and welcome back to another video on my channel in what can only be described as shameless life update video number 3? So what have I been up to? For anyone that's been subscribed to this channel for a while, you'll know that the last video I probably made was a roast where I made a diss track of myself, because when you see this and hear this voice, you think rapper. Because I keep going to YouTubey things and people are like, oh, you do YouTube, how long have you been making YouTube videos? I'm like, 2010, and they're like, oh, that's a long time. What do you do on YouTube? And I go, just released a song. I'm a rapper. What all you need to know is that I'm back and making videos again. Yay, will come. Pew 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 pew. Don't know what that was. But back to the life update thing, and in terms of what I've actually been doing, I've been making a film, which I realise I haven't mentioned yet on YouTube, so I will tell you all about it now, because I'm very excited. I'm very excited. So since April now, I've been working on a film. It's called Fame, or Famey, depending on how badly you read our logo. And the reason I haven't spoke about it too much online, and the reason I'm not going to talk about it too much online, is myself and the people who are making the film with me don't want to say too much about it until it's ready to post in the world. What I can tell you is that this is definitely the biggest thing that I've done to date. It is a 30-minute narrative short film. After writing and planning it for a couple of months, we put out an open casting and a ton of people came and auditioned, and we got this fabulous cast together. We then shot it over about a week around all these awesome locations in London, and it's currently in post-production, which means everything's been filmed and it's currently sat on hard drives waiting to be turned into a finished thing that we can show to people, and that's exciting. I think I'll talk about it more in depth when it comes out. I should probably talk about it coming out. So annoyingly, I'm not exactly sure when this video is going to make its way to YouTube and whether it's going to be on this YouTube channel, but it probably is, which is good. That's what you want to know. Probably at some point. Wonderful. We're aiming for the film to be finished around the start of August, but I assure you at some point you will be able to see it, and it is the best thing I think I've ever made. Which may not be too much of a big title, because I've made a lot of No, but seriously, it's quite exciting, and although I meant to be very secretive about it on social media, I often can't help myself tweeting stills every now and again, like this, and this, and this. Stop it! Anyway, enough about that for now, because I'm sure I will cause enough waves on its release. And the last thing I wanted to talk about in this little update thing is kind of reflecting from this time last year when I made a video called Hello, which is basically this last year. And then a few weeks later I made a video called I Quit University, where I talked about how I had dropped out of LSE at the last minute at the end of second year. I'm really proud of where I've got to right now. I look back to this time last year where off camera I was incredibly unhappy, hence shaking everything up so much. And I don't know, I just wanted to make a video to everyone who was like, that's crazy, you're dropping out of a really, really good university and you're starting again and all the debt and all the things. Which, admittedly, very few people said. Most people at the time were really supportive, and they were like, yeah, you do you well. I don't know, it's been a crazy year going back into first year and starting film school and going into this whole other industry. And at the same time, making YouTube a bigger and bigger part of my life, even though I make no videos. That's no excuse. And my friend Connor came to visit a few weeks ago. If you've been subscribed for at least a year, you will know who Connor is. Connor used to be one of the 3 people who kind of helped me make stuff on this channel. He also pops up in the last video of Wilmus, I think, if you watched that. Connor Durkin, everyone. We love Mr. Connor Durkin. But I hadn't seen him in a while because, like most of my friends, they've been doing their final year exams. But he came to stay a few days ago. I couldn't help but contrast it to last year when the exact same thing happened. We both had exams, and then afterwards he came up and stayed in my flat in London for like a couple of days. And last time when he came to stay, I literally had my interview for my new university that day. Like, I had like a Skype call in the morning that I had to make in the next room, and we spent the whole time just talking about how I was gonna drop out and like what the plans were in the future and things like that. And this time round, I got an email a couple of days before he was due to come with 2 tickets to go and see Spiderman Homecoming a week early in Leicester Square. Now, one, no spoilers, but it's a good film. It's a good film. But secondly, it was just this bizarre thing where almost exactly 1 year later, we've gone from kind of sat in a park somewhere in the sun talking about wanting to like drop out and go into film and do all these things, and then exactly a year later, we're going to this like early screening kind of premiere type thing of this film, which we both really wanted to go and see. And I think at the ripe old age of 20, that's right, I haven't even turned 21 yet, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a bit too cynical to parrot out the phrase that I used to back in my Being Original videos back in the day, if anyone remembers that, where I was like, do whatever makes you happy. Da, 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 da. However, that. And I guess if you're watching this, you're kind of being like, oh, good, I'm glad that's working out for you. But turning this from a one-way conversation into a two-way conversation for a second, a year ago I asked you guys what one fact you could tell me about yourselves, because I realised that I knew very little about the people that I was talking to on a weekly basis. 6 monthly basis. At the time I was really scared that nobody was going to reply, but loads of people did, and that was great, and I get to see more faces and make more internet friends with you lovely human beings. What is this? So 1 year on, I'm going to ask you another question. What do you see yourself doing in 1 year's time? Like, what is your goal for this time next year? I'm intrigued. I'd love to know. That's not optional. Compulsory, ladies and gentlemen. Comment section. Use it, please. That was aggressive. You don't have to. I'd just like to know about you because I'm nosy. If it helps, I'll tell you about me. By next year, I'd like to have released Fame and have it made some sort of impact to at least someone, hopefully. I'd really like to go and visit America by next year. Maybe go to VidCon. It's something which I'm leaning towards wanting to go to more and more every year as I know more and more people go. And I think I'm finally going to try and make that happen, even though it's very expensive and I'm now very poor. But number one on my list, the thing that I really want to achieve by next year, the thing that if I were you, I would be writing in the comments, is I want to finally have cracked consistency on YouTube. Like, as I say, I've been hanging around now for 7 years. I feel like it's time that I started making regular content. That is my goal for this time next year. We'll see. We won't see. We're action people. I'm going to do it. Starting tomorrow.